Mainstream media reports on anything. My immediate reaction. Yup. Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Akorn. I hope all of you are having a great weekend and that you're ready for the next episode of Laugh While the World Burns, where we show some of the highlights of the idiocracy that is modern-day society. If you enjoy this series, please help support the channel and watch this video to the end, and share this video with your family, friends, and social media. We got a lot of good memes and idiocracy news today, so let's get into it. The EU Commission is bringing changes to the food market. The use of powder from mealworm larvae as an ingredient in food has been approved, including in baked goods. This step is controversial among consumers. The regulation allows the use of powder made from mealworm larvae in various products such as cheese, jams, pasta, and bread. The prerequisite is that the larvae are exposed to UV radiation. Products containing the ingredient must carry appropriate warnings to warn people with shellfish allergies of possible reactions. Yeah, people that's allergic to the wet bugs are allergic to the dry bugs too. Balenciaga selling destroyed sneakers for $1,850. And yes, once again, this is real, and it's just a different set of sneakers this time. Volleyball player injured by transgender athlete reveals she was booted from sorority for confronting male in female bathroom. Hayden McNabb suffered partial paralysis after being hit in the face with a ball by a male volleyball player. A former athlete who advocates against men in women's sports revealed she was kicked out of a sorority because she questioned a man as to why he was in a women's bathroom. Hayden McNabb was just 17 years old when she was hit in the face with a volleyball that was spiked by a male athlete playing on a women's team. She soon spoke out about having suffered a concussion, brain damage, and paralysis on one side of her face. Now 19, McNabb has proven she was kicked out of her sorority at Western Carolina University for bullying. The claim from Delta Zeta stemmed from a 2024 video in which McNabb confronted a male who was in the female bathroom. Yep, but she was the bully. If we divide 123 genders by white supremacy, how much climate change do we get? That's basically what they sound like. Me saying thank you to ChatGPT so they spare my life when AI takes over the world. That actually is something to consider. You never know. Where your taxes go. Endless wars. Corrupt politicians. Government bailouts. Where your taxes should be going. Right back into your wallet. Very true. Illegals aren't taking U.S. jobs. You also said no U.S. jobs will get done without illegals. I just bought a new Jeep. I named it Elizabeth Warren because it's all white, but it says it's a Cherokee. How to clear out a liberal rally. That would probably do it, yeah. Having your first son and not making him a junior is crazy to me. Y'all be naming y'all sons Junior with no father. Junior what? Junior bacon cheeseburger? The IRS giving you a $17 tax refund after you've paid them 40% of your income.
Now, thank me and shake my hand.
Yeah, that sums it up. 50-year-old man arrested after faking heart attack in 20 restaurants to avoid paying bill. He has the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible at his sentencing. He better seriously hope that he never has a real heart attack, because no one will believe him. Selena when Obama deported 5.3 million illegal immigrants versus when Trump begins to remove criminals now. San Francisco fans boo Charles Barkley after he says the city needs to help the homeless. Some of these people are so stupid.
Put HIV positive on my all my profiles. People don't want to touch you. I remember being on a date with someone, so I brought him back to my place. Was like, okay, I need to tell you something. I'm HIV positive. And I remember he looked at me. It was like I murdered him. I was like, I thought he was gonna beat the shit out of me. He was like, I can't believe you wouldn't tell me, and you gave me HIV, and was just losing his mind. And I'm like, no, that's not possible. Even if I bled on you, an open wound, that wouldn't happen. I'm undetectable. And I have diabetes. I have high blood pressure. You're not telling them any of this shit. Where HIV is now, if you are undetectable, you don't necessarily have to disclose that.
Do you have any mental illness in your family? I have an uncle who trusts Dr. Fossey, so that would be a yes. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and all the other genders you make up are from Uranus. Give up your substance to stop substance violence. But I don't commit violence. Welcome to cordless hole puncher debate. Ma'am, we saw your meme. Do not resist by using your violent words. Come peacefully, or we'll have to take you by force. Who has 2 thumbs and sold 10,000 shares of NVIDIA before the stock crashed? Fact check true. The IRS when they hear they're being audited by Dodge.
You dare use my own spells against me.
If the grocery store has a section for health food, then what is the rest of the store? Exactly. Google drops pledge not to use AI for weapons or surveillance. Google on Tuesday updated its ethical guidelines around artificial intelligence, removing commitments not to apply the technology to weapons or surveillance. The company's AI principles previously included a section listing 4 applications we will not pursue. As recently as Thursday, that included weapons, surveillance, technologies that cause or are likely to cause overall harm, and use cases contravening principles of international law and human rights, according to a copy hosted by the Internet Archive. Like they don't know everything about us already? And of course, one of the first uses of every technology that's ever been invented, one of the first uses that they look for is how to weaponize it. That was done before the public ever even heard of AI, let alone now. Watching the part in V for Vendetta, where the government creates and uses it to seize power over its people. White House begins migrant flights to Guantanamo Bay. The Trump administration on Tuesday began flying immigrants who entered the country illegally to Guantanamo Bay amid plans to use the facility in Cuba to detain thousands of migrants. White House press secretary confirmed the first flights from the U.S. to Guantanamo Bay carrying migrant lacking permanent legal status were underway. Never forget who all your hard work is really for. Yeah, it's something like between 93 and 107 days a year that the average person works just to pay their income taxes. That's not including all the other taxes that you gotta pay too. Nobody has the right to know where Dems were sending your money overseas. It's okay, buddy. Dodge isn't accessing your $23 bank account. And to address some comments that I've received recently, yes, I know that they are pronouncing it Doge. But this is my show, and I'm going to pronounce it Dodge, because that's just easier to say. Just remember, if things get bad, 1995, and you move to the mountains. Hey, something to think about. When someone says, "You won't believe what I saw on the news." Correct. We only accept cash. Help us with evasion. Florida man accused of stabbing pro-Trump friend to death with trowel found not guilty of intentional unaliving. The victim's father said his son was promoted to a construction site foreman before he was unalived and hired the man accused of unaliving him. A Florida man accused of stabbing his pro-Trump friend to unaliving with a trowel at a construction site has been found not guilty of intentional unaliving. During a non-jury trial at an Orange County court last month, 34-year-old Mason Trevor Toney was found not guilty of intentional unaliving by reason of insanity, according to the news. Like I've said many times before, they put the violent criminals right back out on the streets, and yet people with substance crimes or taxes and many other things will sit behind bars for decades. Say government, criminal organization. Same thing. Zelensky tossed out of White House after refusing Trump's ultimatum to surrender child traffickers and return kidnapped children home. Your race card has been declined. Do you have another form of argument? I sat with a girl with dark skin. Discussed alt-right. Never lose your AirPods. Introducing AirPod strap. They just turned them back into earbuds with the wire that connects the two.
You ruined us! You have ruined the United States! You've ruined us! We will not recover! Oh! God! We will never recover because of your stupidity! Stupidity!
Ma'am, I hope you have a great day again.
Conspiracy theorist. World elites are part of a ritualistic cult. Realists. LOL. Yeah, right. The elites. And that's just barely scratching the surface. You'd probably need a microscope to see it. What Congress thinks they look like. What they actually look like. Now we know the truth. Social Security was never drying up. They were stealing it. And they have been all along. Science Museum in bonkers alphabet Lego warning. Lego can be anti-alphabet, the Science Museum has said. A self-guided museum tour on stories of queer communities, experiences, and identities includes a display of Lego bricks alongside a guide stating the plastic blocks may reinforce the idea that heterosexuality is the norm. Wait till they find out about plumbing and electrical work. Racist dogs. Woke madness as government-funded study says dogs should be banned from the countryside over risk of offending minorities. Labor's devolved administration has promised to end racism in the countryside by 2030. UK is getting worse all the time. Tax season. TurboTax. Me with zero accounting knowledge. Yeah, this is true. I just went through it. How about you guys? How many of you have already got your taxes done? Just remember, it's better to have a professional to do your taxes than to have to deal with late fees or even other fines later on. Trans-identifying man with explicit OnlyFans account may lose new city council appointment. I want to be a sofa. My weird addiction. Every time that you think everything is as stupid as it gets worse. How it started. How it's going. Hakeem Jeffries was $40,000 in debt when he came to Congress. In 6 years, he's amassed a $36 million stock portfolio. Bottled water companies don't produce water. They produce plastic bottles. That is very true. Disney makes U-turn on DEI programs. Disney is U-turning on its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and restoring some of its classic films to their former glory on its streaming platform Disney+. In a note sent to employees on Tuesday obtained by Axios, Chief Human Resources Officer Sonia Coleman detailed the company's policy changes that removed previous alerts about scenes involving racial or outdated stereotypes. Disclaimers had been put on older titles like Dumbo and Peter Pan, which warned viewers of negative depictions and/or mistreatment of people or cultures. Now, a new, updated advisory will read, "This program is presented as originally created and may contain stereotypes or negative depictions," according to the outlet. The left. RFK Jr. is too anti-science. Also the left. Anonymous. Verified account. This account is ID verified. I don't think he's too anonymous anymore. Assaulted a girl in 2008. Used $875,000 of tax money to keep her quiet. Yet another example of our tax dollars being used for everything but we the people. Free 2-day shipping. Buy nuclear weapons at Walmart.com. Well, I guess it'll make it a lot easier for Doc to get his plutonium that he needs in the future. Person who creates art is an artist. Person who plays a piano is a pianist. Person who competes in races is a racist. So you're okay with thousands of government employees losing their jobs? Millions. Miles of protected Amazon rainforest cleared for highway to UN Climate Summit. You can't make this stuff up. The so-called carbon footprint for the climate alarmist get-together is sizing up to be colossal. Climate alarmists are planning yet another summit under the auspices of the United Nations to discuss changing weather patterns, wealth redistribution schemes, and ways of regulating human behavior. Instead of holding a virtual meeting, thereby eliminating the need for the November conferences over 50,000 participants to fly around the world, the 2025 UN Climate Change Conference will be held in Brazil, the gateway to the Amazon River. To ensure the COP30's participants enjoy easy motorized transit in and out of the city, a 4-lane highway is being cut through the protected Amazon forest, which absorbs 1/4 of the supposedly problematic carbon dioxide absorbed by all the land on Earth. According to BBC, 8 miles of the rainforest has already been cut down to make room for the partially built highway. Former carbon capture systems are being stacked high along the roadside. Hypocrisy at its finest. But do they care? No. Not only do they do this, but they'll also plaster it all over the news for everyone to see. Pears grown in Argentina, packed in Thailand, and sold in the US. And you want to stop me from farting. Florida man wears Dr. Police shirt to court and wins the case. Prosecutor. New York City goes 5 days without any shooting victims for the first time in 30 years. The Big Apple had no shooting victims between Sunday and Thursday this week, police said on social media. 4 minutes after the post was published, the streak was broken. You should have known better. You jinxed it. America right now looks like a business that has fired a failing manager and hired an expert to fix the situation. Simultaneously, the most hated country on earth and the one everyone will cross thousands of miles over land and sea to live in. Amateur looters, professional looters. Federal judge orders astronauts be returned to space station. Nothing would really surprise me at this point. How I feel about the climate change scam.
Because we've already paid for it with our subsidies. Come on! I'll be going to the hospital soon. It's fine!
How am I going to pay off the big guy if Trump won't give me money? If you're driving a stolen Tesla, would it be called an Edison? In a matter of speaking, I suppose. Dog stole human head from a crime scene and ran with it. A dog got to the crime scene where human remains had been dumped and he carried off a human head. Why wasn't the crime scene already secured? They just let random dogs just walk through there? If a dog could go in there and do that before they stop him, then no evidence or anything else in the crime scene is safe. A broke bartender for 9 years, now 8 years in Congress, worth $28 million. Google turns 26. Leonardo DiCaprio just switched to Bing. You're harboring fat people under the floorboards, are you not? The 150-year-old In God We Trust sign is once again hanging over the entrance to the West Wing. Abraham Lincoln had it placed there. Biden had it removed. Why do white people love their dogs so much? And many more questions. Okay, I'm sorry. Are they trying to say that everyone else besides white people don't love their dogs? They, them, turtle. Oregon Mental Health Advisory Board includes member who identifies as terrapin species. J.D. Holt helps make policy recommendations for mental health services in Oregon. Talk about the insane taking over the asylum.
It was really fun last year, and my, at the time, 3-year-old had such a good time tipping the drag queens and the other drag performers. He kept going, so pretty, and like holding out the dollars. He was so excited. So I'm sure that he won't be able to wait again this year. So thank you so much for making it not just a fun event, but a fun event for everyone in your family. It's much appreciated.
Absolutely. Since the beginning, it's always been very important to us that this event is accessible for everybody, and that includes being free entry. At most, one day we might ask for a donation, but we'll never turn someone away for a ticket price.
The American healthcare system. Basically, just add a lot more zeros to that. Cook with fats that are solid at room temperature. This actually is very true. The American people have been fooled for many years into believing many falsehoods about food, including how real butter is bad for you. But yet margarine, which is made out of hydrogenated vegetable oil and who knows what else, is supposedly good for you. When in fact, that one and many more are complete lies. It says here that Dodge found USAID funds for making Sesame Street in Iraq. Now it begins to make sense. That's why those Alibabas were dressed up so weird. How are we supposed to know? That one's getting pretty dark there. Can you believe that they actually used this photo for the advertisement? I had bacon and eggs for breakfast. So you're saying unalive all the vegans? We won't stand up for a 13-year-old cancer survivor, but Democrats will kneel for a criminal. To speed up deportations, ICE will have drop-off boxes at gas stations. There will be parents that'll tell their kids, "You see that? That's called an ice box. If you don't behave, I'm going to take you and put you in there, and President Trump's men's going to come by and they'll send you off overseas somewhere, and we'll never see you again." Fire survivors drive back toward flames after hearing Camilla speak. Yeah, I had that article back a few weeks ago in another show about somebody who found human teeth in their chicken nuggets. Let's just say, nothing would surprise me. When I see this picture, I can't help but hear the Oompa Loompa song from Willy Wonka. That actually looks like it would fit pretty well. I blame for everything. It's cool that you're so open about your mental illness. Tesla Cybertruck sank when launching a jet ski after Musk said you could use the truck as a boat. A Tesla Cybertruck sank in Ventura Harbor in California when trying to launch a jet ski, despite Tesla CEO Elon Musk saying that you could use the truck as a boat. Elon Musk has often made claims before about how Tesla vehicles could float and briefly serve as a boat. They have never been taken too seriously because Tesla's warranty said something different about taking a vehicle into the water. However, the CEO doubled down on the claim with Cybertruck. Ahead of launching the production version of the Cybertruck, Musk claimed the vehicle would be waterproof enough to serve as a boat and cross rivers. The Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy. The CEO added that the goal is for the Cybertruck to be able to cross the water between SpaceX's Starbase and South Padre Island in Texas, which is about 360 meters or 1,100 feet. Mom, why aren't you depressed like everyone else today? Because I'm not vegan, I quit my terrible job, I frolic in the sun, don't watch the news, and I love your father very much.
Why doesn't The View have any trans women on it?
Great point. It has a lot of women that look trans, but none of them... It has a lot of second and third takes. After a drink, you'd go, huh? But it doesn't have a ton of... Yeah.
It's zero.
I agree. It should be all trans women.
How dare you show me where my taxes have been spent? Government creates the crisis so it can rescue you with the loss of freedom. Very true statement. He took my pronouns. I have to live in reality now. Well, I'm not gonna knock the guy. At least he's prepared. This might be my first time seeing a crocodile screaming for help. I can't quite tell if that's an alligator or a crocodile, but regardless, What if it flipped around and grabbed a hold of her? There wouldn't be anything that anyone could do fast enough. Why does the government ruin everything it touches? Well, Russ, people can't seem to figure out that government is a monopoly that has no incentive to be efficient, effective, accountable, or to improve because it's funded by taxes we pay involuntarily, and if we don't, well, they put us in prison. Fact check true. Pupils bury school skeleton after bones were found to be real. How do you possibly have a real human skeleton in the classroom and not know it? And further still, how long did they have it there? I blocked CNN at my mom's house using parental controls. Now she keeps calling me saying she can't watch the news. This is how we save America. Apple says a bug caused its iPhone voice-to-text feature to spit out Trump when a user says racist. Apple said it's working on repairing a glitch after some iPhone users noticed that speaking the word racist into the voice-to-text feature causes it to write Trump before quickly switching to racist. Confusion and outrage from conservative commentators, including InfoWars host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, grew online after a TikTok user called out the feature in a video posted last week. Others on social media have since filmed themselves testing out the glitch. Several NBC News reporters were able to replicate the same trend on multiple iPhone devices. When activating its voice dictation feature and saying the word racist, the text result would briefly display Trump before being replaced with racist. We are aware of an issue with the speech recognition model that powers dictation, and we're rolling out a fix today, a spokesperson for Apple said in a statement Tuesday. Yeah, it's a glitch, all right. What a joke. Jobs report shows skyrocketing unemployment among lizard people. Not a single one of these is screaming about the corrupt misuse of our tax dollars that you said. They are only screaming about Trump-appointed Musk exposing it and shutting it down. That alone is all you need to see about the Democrat Party. Never forget this. Well, just remember, it's also the Republicans and Congress that had to pass all of these bills too. But that is still assuming that you believe the government is real and not a bunch of actors displaying their role. The York University PhD candidate and lecturer, Aliyah Khan, screamed, "You" at veterans on Remembrance Day. York University confirmed that she is no longer teaching there. You know, when I first saw this, I just thought it was actually a meme, that somebody had made this. But before I started recording today, I thought I'd go look it up and see. And sure enough, on Google Maps and Google Earth, it shows the Gulf of America. A fork, a tactical fork, a salt fork, fork after fork control legislation. It's now officially the season of I'll pay you back when I get my tax refund. Scientists discover cockroach milk is 4 times more nutritious than cow milk. That's just fine. The elites and the billionaires can drink all the cockroach milk that they want. We'll keep the cows. It's time to investigate Jasmine. Salary, $174,000. Net worth, $9 million. Properties, $5 million. Have you guys seen this one yet? There's 2 guys stealing stuff in a CVS. The employee calls the police. They show up, take the guys outside, they let one of them go, and then this woman asks the employee, "Why did you call the police on these two guys?" You guys just have to watch this.
May I ask why you called the police on those two men?
CVS policy dictates that if they're shoplifters, that exit the store with merchandise unpaid for, you should get the police involved. And if the police apprehend them, we should issue a barring notice.
Okay.
So I actually did not elect to press charges. I said, hey, look, I just want them to know they can't come in here anymore because they shoplifted, and I just need them to sign that, and I need my merchandise back. And the officers obliged, and the guy said the same thing, thank you, and they left.
It's not your merchandise, it's the store. So you know what happened.
Follow my company's policies, not your policies, where I can appreciate your concern.
So you're willing to risk someone's life for what, $30,000 a year?
There was no risk, in my opinion. Thank you.
What is your name? No, what is his name?
No one's going to tell you my name when you're sitting here videotaping us so that you can try and elicit some sort of violence against me. It's not going to happen.
Elicit violence against you? You just elicited violence against two black men by calling the police on them.
We got to walk away. When one of them had a warrant, he could have been arrested, and the cops still let him go.
Just listen to yourself. You work with black folks.
So did you get all that, guys? If you call the police on thieves, you're racist. Chickens after the price of eggs went up. Yeah, you almost need to start treating them that way. Even here in our little town down there, for a dozen of large eggs the last time that I saw them was $9.50 now. If you had to buy 2 dozen eggs by the time the taxes and stuff, you'd already spent $20. Don't worry though, they just wiped out some more farms. Pfizer hires ex-FDA drug chief as top doctor. The former head of the Food and Drug Administration's drug division is joining Pfizer as its chief medical officer, the company announced on Monday. Patrizia was formerly director of the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research from 2020 until January, when she resigned just ahead of President Trump's return to office. Trump is governing like he's been shot, indicted, investigated, impeached, hunted, marked, and has no left to give. He is our John Wick. Israel and Gaza, white and black. Russia and Ukraine, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Republicans. Imagine, if you will, a country where people believe that the military-industrial complex will save them from the military-industrial complex. Yep, 100%. I don't need a man. I know how to put oil in my car. Now, this picture here was hopefully just staged. However, there absolutely has been people that puts cooking oil in their engine. I will say it is interesting what happens to it in the engine, but basically some of the ones I've seen, whenever they took off the oil pan, it basically felt like a block of black colored, really tough Jell-O, almost like a ballistics gel. If this camera wasn't here, I'd snap your neck. Alec Baldwin threatens Trump impersonator who called him an unaliver. We now have thousands of newly fired, unskilled federal employees to take over the jobs that deported illegals leave behind. Now that is a great idea. Oh look, celebrity opinions. Transgender college sprinter breaks women's track records for second year in a row. The male athlete has at least 5 program records in different female track categories. WWE legend Kane, now a Tennessee mayor, challenges Tim Walz to charity wrestling match after governor's bold claim. After Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said he believes he, quote, could kick most Trump supporters' One of them have stepped up to the plate, and he is automatically the heavy favorite. WWE legend Kane, who stands 7 feet tall and wrestled at over 300 pounds during his illustrious career, has challenged Walls to a charity wrestling match. Kane, whose real name is Glenn Jacobs, now the mayor of Knox County in Tennessee, issued a challenge to Walls on Thursday. All joking aside, Governor Tim Walz, let's put our money where our mouth is. In a charity wrestling match, we'll split the gate 50-50 between our chosen organizations. I'll kick things off myself with a $10,000 donation. What do you say? As if he's gonna get a reply. For each president, there is a book. Me after filing an extension on my taxes, so Dodge has time to abolish the IRS. You know what, guys? I actually considered waiting to turn in my tax return until the 13th or 14th of April. But then I got to thinking about what is the likelihood that they'll ever actually do away with income taxes, let alone the IRS. And even if they did, it certainly won't change 2024's taxes. I will not seek re-election. Good. I am pro-oxygen. Liberals. War propaganda. People who have never been in a fight. Fact check true. My favorite part about tax day is thinking about all the oligarchs it will help in the proxy wars they wage on behalf of BlackRock as I go to take out a second mortgage to buy my groceries. That is very true. Google forgot Biden. U.S. president's in order. The White House declares electrical grid unreliable. The energy and critical minerals of the United States are all far too inadequate to meet our nation's needs. According to this new and official government report, the previous administration has driven our nation into a national emergency, where supply doesn't meet demand, and our power grid is increasingly becoming more and more unreliable by the day. Experts would always refer to our grid as our nation's Achilles heel, because it's always been our weak point. But at the same time, they want to add millions of electric vehicles, all of them having to be charged off of the crumbling power grid. Thanks to Dodge, I just discovered at 60 years old, I'm now middle-aged. I'm a spring chicken. Yeah, because Dodge finding people who are 150 years old and still receiving Social Security. That's a nice government you have there. It'd be a shame if someone limited it. Oh, it wouldn't either. Need to dissolve it. Come on, Texas. I'm down to the little deodorant in the cracks. I hear you on that one. Could St. Louis succeed and become the 51st state? Missouri lawmaker proposes idea. A Missouri lawmaker called for making St. Louis County, and St. Charles County the 51st state during a debate last week regarding the state takeover of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police. Yeah, because the city won't let the police arrest the criminals. State Representative Michael Burton suggested the city and 2 counties secede from the state and directed his argument at the Republican side of the chamber, stating, "We subsidize your counties. Maybe we can just keep all that tax revenue in St. Louis. And can you imagine how great St. Louis would be if we just kept our own tax dollars? If only all the rest of the people here in Missouri could be so lucky that St. Louis and Kansas City both would succeed from the state, because I guarantee you the rest of the state subsidizes far more for those cities than anything that they give us." You can't ban TikTok. All the clocks will stop. Speaking of clocks, we got 1 week until the time moves forward, and it'll finally start getting dark at a reasonable hour. Even liberals mocked Democrats' impotent protest to Trump address. Some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Federal workers concerned that returning to office will interfere with them not working. If you see something suspicious, speak up. Saw something suspicious, spoke up. Social Security's 360-year-old revealed. I'm going to be a father, revealing the gender of my twins. Father-to-be does mother care haul. Christmas gift guide by the boys. My children don't exist. Maybe not, but it got over 3 million views. Almost 160,000 civil service employees are millionaires. When Biden took office, fewer than 70,000 federal workers were millionaires. By 2022, the number grew to 76,000. The number ballooned to 155,000 by September of 2024. It is likely there are over 160,000 millionaires working for President Trump. My tax return, $350. Somebody that didn't work all year with 5 kids, $11,000. Looks like I found a brick of that Fort Knox gold, until I turned it over. Speaking of Fort Knox, do you guys think that there's any gold left in Fort Knox? Is it just going to be one big empty vault? Or will they have a bunch of gold-plated lead bars? My dad believed that they had emptied out Fort Knox back 20 plus years ago. And it would certainly surprise me too if there's actually any in there. People cannot be trusted to govern themselves, but people can be trusted to govern others. That's exactly what they're saying. The most upset feminist on YouTube says all white people are racist. Outrage as transgender woman is handed Woman of the Year award by Australian state MP. Incredibly offensive. This is one time that it should be incredibly offensive. Progressive church boots woke pastor after parishioners complained they were lectured on whiteness, LGBT causes, and immigrants. During an anti-racism seminar, the pastor called for a whiteness audit to decolonize the church's interior space. A progressive pastor in North Carolina was recently removed from his very liberal church after parishioners complained that they were being lectured about whiteness, LGBT causes, and illegal immigrants. A1, established in 1862. So in the middle of the Civil War, someone was like, you know what this country needs? A delicious steak sauce. Huge female rapper files multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Lyft after she was denied service because she was too big to fit into a car. I believe I have a video clip from that in a past episode, and it was a Lyft driver with just a regular small car who point-blank told her she's too big to fit in the vehicle. There was another clip of her getting out of a full-size Suburban, and even then she was barely able to get out of the vehicle. How to become a billionaire. Step 1. Save $1 million a year. Step 2. Do this for 1,000 years. You know, most of us can't really grasp what $1 billion is. I mean, sure, we hear the term all the time thrown around by the government and the news, but most of us can't really grasp what it would mean to have $1 billion. Now just expand upon that and take it to $1 trillion. Sure, we hear the term all the time, especially the national debt, but just like $1,000 million is $1 billion, it takes $1,000 billion to equal $1 trillion. And just remember, the U.S. debt right now is $36.5 trillion. They own 13 homes and are worth $61 million. And they are discussing income inequity. $60 million? That ain't nothing. Go watch people like Oprah talking about it. Labeled terrorist by the government. Family unalived by evil empire. Has nothing left to live for. Joins rebellion to vow revenge. Inspired by ancient religion. Trains with leaders. Uses to force change. The only difference is society tells you that one is a hero and that the other one is the enemy. Why is that? Well, most of the time, whether a man is labeled a hero or a terrorist comes down to your point of view. Whatever side a person is for are the heroes, and the side that the person is against is the enemy. Whether you're supposed to be rooting for one side or the other usually depends on what the propaganda news has directed you to believe. Want to know whether your neighbor is an R or a D? There's an app for that. I'm sure that there is. It's a wonder that such an app wasn't promoted back around October and November for certain groups to start going house to hunt people down. Yeah, they boast and are prideful about murdering children. To all of those who live in the cities and have never seen this is what a cow's egg looks like. Yeah, we're surrounded by cattle farms here, and a calf is pretty small when it first hatches. Rosie O'Donnell has moved to Ireland after Trump election. It has been heartbreaking. When you know it is safe for all citizens to have equal rights there in America, that's when we will consider coming back. The Emmy-winning star said on a TikTok video about a possible return. I think I can speak for most conservatives here in the U.S. today when I say, Ireland, we're sorry. We don't think that you deserve this. Breaking news, Trump to start deporting Democrats. Mexico responds by starting to build a border wall. You can't trust these young people working for Dodge, said the people who believed Greta Thunberg when she was 13. It's actually a little bit sad about her, because basically she was literally groomed to play that role. The new progressive shopping basket, designed specifically to hold $100 in weekly groceries. It's actually getting pretty close to that. Michelle Obama launches podcast with brother Craig Robinson. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will launch a podcast with her brother Craig Robinson. The Obama's media company, Higher Ground, announced Monday. And if you want to see another movie that their media company produced, go watch the movie Leave the World Behind. It's now socially acceptable again to clap when the plane lands. Yeah, you better be thankful that you touch down on wheels these days and stay on the runway, let alone all the planes that have parts flying off of them in mid-flight. Why do they look like they're about to lay a trap for Batman? Hollywood could get some inspiration here. U.S. Post Office worker stole $1.6 million in checks from mail, spent it on luxury hotels and gentlemen's clubs. Trump says U.S. is reclaiming Panama Canal after American and Swiss investors strike deal to buy Chinese-backed ports. President Trump, who had claimed without evidence that China controls the canal, there was plenty of evidence. Everybody knew that. Touted the proposed sale as a victory in his address to joint session of Congress. They make it sound pretty good here by calling them American and Swiss investors. However, who it really is BlackRock. BlackRock strikes deal for Panama ports after U.S. pressure. Now, some of you have some knowledge about BlackRock. Let's just say they are not a good group and are well connected to people like George Soros and the World Economic Forum. Dodge is canceling Social Security payments to the most vulnerable people, those that's over 150 years old. It's just heartless. You know what's pretty bad? There's probably people out there that actually believe this. Dad hates electric cars. Family gets a Tesla. Dad and the Tesla. Yep, smart man. The purpose of the U.S. Constitution is to limit the power of the federal government, not the American people. It's what it was supposed to have done. These days, it's not even the government that really holds the power, it's the courts. Attorney General calls Tesla arson attacks nothing short of domestic terrorism. Attorney General Pam Bondi called the recent spate of arson attacks and vandalism against Tesla vehicles nothing short of domestic terrorism and promised harsh punishments for the perpetrators if they are caught. Teslas are getting torched in Berlin as surveys show Germans are deserting Elon Musk's carmaker in droves. I'll just let you guys pause the video and read this one. A Florida elementary school principal was arrested for throwing an alcohol-fueled house party attended by more than 100 underage students. What did she possibly expect? Deep Thoughts by Bigfoot. If zombies like to eat brains, what are the majority of you people worried about? Dodge canceled a $600,000 grant to study menstrual cycles in transgender men. How I Sleep Knowing My Meme made 46 people exhale gently from their nose. Or they're yelling at their screen while furiously typing on their keyboard. When you've done your taxes and you still owe Ukraine $15,000. Social justice warrior calls bald guy Nazi skinhead. Guy actually has medical condition. Laid off IRS agents now forced to go door to door, robbing people directly. Taylor Swift facts. Taylor Swift can now buy Kanye West and still have $700 million left for herself. Taylor Swift cannot buy Kanye West, as this was abolished in 1865 in the United States. You'd never know that by watching the news these days, though. Of course, they never say anything about all the other countries that are still doing it. The warmer weather is coming, and so are these people. 3/4 of Americans want term limits. Share this video if you are one of them. While vacationing on his 282-foot-long super yacht, eco-activist Steven Spielberg was once fined $180 by the Italian Coast Guard for bringing his dinghy too close to beachgoers. a drop in a bucket for the billionaire filmmaker as his vessel burned $3,500 worth of diesel per day. Rules for thee, but not for me. They tell us it's our fault for driving our car to work every day and for using plastic shopping bags and plastic straws. All the while they prance around the world in their private jets, yachts, mansions, and everything else without a single care in the world. Trump reduces Trudeau to tears. Canada's outgoing Prime Minister cries at press conference after humiliating tariff war with U.S. How vegans think animals unalive in the wild. We must all do our part for the planet. The other day, I unplugged a row of electric cars nobody was using. Well, need to turn those lights off and unplug the cars to save electricity. How the Canadian government thinks they look threatening the U.S. How the Canadian government actually looks. So how does it look, Doc? Yeah, 1 second. You know what the worst part is? This is probably true. There is more and more people relying on ChatGPT to give them answers for things. And that's fine and all, except when it becomes to something that is super important. They've even been using AI in court cases, but the problem was the AI actually invented fake past cases, which it just made up, so it could try to use that as proof for why it was right in its view for whatever the particular point was in the case. And apparently, that happened multiple times. The people that you want audited are afraid of being audited. Horse Oil Instant Wrinkle Remover Face Cream. Eye Firming Anti-Aging Lifting Moisturizing Facial Cream removes fine line skincare. Before, after. I just had to include this one. Stop saying we're all violent. Stop being violent. You'll hurt your feelings if you say that, though, because remember, they're all peaceful protesters. This was considered comically fat in 1971. Newsom condemned for throwing trans people under bus after sports comment. Democratic California governor faces backlash after saying trans women playing in female sports was deeply unfair. It's almost as if Trump came to Washington, flipped the lights on, and all the cockroaches are running around in panic. That movie you want to watch isn't available on any of your 17 streaming services, but you can rent it for $9.99 though. Well, it's Epstein Files Not Released Day again. I don't need you anymore. I am woke now. By the way that they act, you would think that that's exactly what happened. Congratulations to CNN, the first network with more employees than viewers. Remember, Mother's Day is for moms, not men in dresses. Your day is April 1st. Why are you crying? I don't know, but it's Trump's fault. Before you argue with someone online, remember that they are most likely someone who followed arrows around a grocery store thinking it would keep them safe. Republicans want to kill the Department of Education. If those kids could read, they'd be very upset. I still don't understand the reason for daylight savings. What was it really created for? To disrupt the body's natural circadian rhythms, which controls your sleep cycle. And they do this on a worldwide scale across all the nations twice a year. I guarantee you there is a lot of health impacts that is caused by this. We need an executive order to remove this emoji from our phones. I agree, but if they could do that, they could literally do anything. These unelected criminal globalist organizations need to be abolished and banned. Healthcare. I need stitches. UK. Your appointment is in 43 months. US. Your bill will be $67,000. Canada. Have you considered self-unaliving? Sad part is, these are all true. Democrats announced plan to call people racist even harder. When someone asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Buddy, I'm just trying to make it to Friday. I hear that. It's been called the Gulf of Mexico for centuries. Now do gender pronouns. Woman divorces husband for booing Taylor Swift. Woman files for divorce after discovering husband joined in booing Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. And yes, this is real. I actually saw her original video. She was proud of it. Captain Cook statue and cottage vandalized. Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, he was one of those evil colonialists. And I'll end the episode with this. If you have a cordless hole puncher, you can rob a bank. But if you have a bank, you can rob everyone. It's absolutely true. We'd like to thank our channel members for your support. Also, all of those who use the Super Thanks and Buy Me a Coffee links. We appreciate all of your support, as well as all of our subscribers and viewers, because this program is only made possible by viewers like you. So if you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button. And always remember to share all this idiocracy with your family and friends. I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this week. This is Akorn, over and out.